Good, happy Sunday morning, March 8, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday morning, so let's begin. First step, 2 new presumptive positive cases of COVID-19 in New Hampshire, one in Grafton County and one in Rockingham County. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
We want to get back to that breaking news of 2 more presumptive positive cases of COVID-19 here in New Hampshire. We have state epidemiologist Dr. Ben Chan on the line with us. Good evening, Dr. Chan.
Good morning. Good evening, excuse me.
What can you tell us, Dr. Chan, at this hour about these 2 new presumptive positive cases?
Yeah, so tonight we announced 2 additional individuals in New Hampshire that our public health laboratories tested and returned today with positive results. Again, these 2 test results will be confirmed at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the coming days. But what I can say is that one of these individuals was a traveler from Italy who returned to our state earlier this week and developed symptoms of COVID-19 and was tested at our public health laboratory today with the result returning positive. The other individual is an adult male from Grafton County who was a contact of a confirmed case of COVID-19. And we're currently conducting a contact investigation on both of these individuals to try and identify potential community exposures and other close contacts to these individuals, so that we can get those people into self-quarantine and test if they are symptomatic. I will also add that we believe the adult male from Grafton County may have been exposed at a church service on March 1st, and so we're currently working with the leadership of that church to message their community and ask that everyone who was at the church service on March 1st during the morning self-quarantine while we investigate, and we will be reaching out to individuals who we believe are close contacts of this confirmed case.
And Dr. Chan, what can you tell us about the symptoms of these 2 men that have the presumptive positive cases? Are they hospitalized or are they self-isolating at home?
Yeah, good question. So both have developed either fever or respiratory symptoms consistent with COVID-19. Both individuals are not severe enough to need hospitalization, and they're currently isolated at home and do not currently pose a threat to public health.
All right, Dr. Chan, thank you so much for this live update for our viewers. We appreciate your time tonight, and we will be at that press conference at 10:30 tomorrow morning to get some more information from health officials. Thanks very much.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. 2 injured in rollover crash on I-93 South in Canterbury. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9. Take a look at the car right there, as you can see.
We have less than 100 dairy farms left in New Hampshire. Tell your grocer today to carry milk with New Hampshire's own logo.
You can't get any more local than buying it from the farmer.
Please help save our farms.
Right now, Interstate 93 southbound at exit 17 is back open. Traffic was diverted for 5 hours last night after a devastating one-car crash in Canterbury. Investigators say witnesses reported a Toyota Yaris was traveling at a high rate of speed before it veered off the side of the highway, struck a tree, and rolled over about 6 o'clock last night. Police say the driver, 26-year-old Corey DeSalt, is in critical condition this morning. His passenger, a 25-year-old woman, is currently in stable condition. The accident reconstruction team was at the scene for hours. Investigators say impairment appears to be a factor. Witnesses are encouraged to contact state police.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Vermont announces first presumptive case of COVID-19. The Vermont Department of Health makes announcement on Saturday evening. The Vermont Department of Health announced the first presumptive case of COVID-19 on Saturday night. According to the DOH, the adult patient is currently hospitalized and is being held in an airborne infection isolation room. Officials are awaiting for confirmation of the positive test results by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Health officials are investigating the person's travel and possible exposure history. They are tracing any contact the person has made with other people. Those people will be addressed for their exposure risk and given recommendations for self-isolation and other restrictions. Our first thoughts are with this patient and for their recovery, said Health Commissioner Dr. Mark. While we had hoped the virus would not come to Vermont, we have been preparing for this annual home show in Manchester, making no major changes. Large crowds not deteriorated from attending event. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
We have less than 100 dairy farms left in New Hampshire. Tell your grocer today to carry milk with New Hampshire's own logo.
You can't get any more local than buying it from the farmer.
Please help save our farms.
Some 7,000 people are expected to walk through the Doubletree Hotel this weekend where the New Hampshire Home Show is taking place. Now, despite all the concerns and the situation around COVID-19, organizers tell us so far, so good. Some vendors did bring in hand sanitizer, but other than that, really no big changes are happening here this weekend. Every vendor still showed up and crowds remain strong. In fact, today had the largest amount of people at the show that organizers have seen in quite some time. And that is good news because the businesses that come here really rely on this show to bring in a boost in revenue.
We have 250 plus or minus vendors here at the show. We're expecting 7,000 visitors to the show, and judging from where we are now, we're actually exceeding where we were last year.
We're seeing more qualified projects coming through, people really delving into what our vendors have to offer. So it's a lot, it's real refreshing to see.
And the show has wrapped up for tonight, but it will be back tomorrow. Doors open at 10 a.m. and it runs until 4 p.m. We're live here in Manchester. I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Tick season is off to an early start in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9. Tyler Dumont.
Bar Harbor Bank and Trust understands life in northern New England. We think differently about banking relationships. And
The many parts of the Granite State, the snow and ice has melted, and hiking trails are again visible. But if you're itching to get a head start on spring outdoor fun, a heads up, the ticks are already out, and word is, they're pretty bad.
Yeah, I've had probably about, I'm going to say, 5 or 6 friends over the last 2 weeks who have started getting ticks already.
Tim Fleury with UNH Cooperative Extension tells News 9 during a recent walk in Boscawen, he came across more than a dozen adult deer ticks known for their potential to spread disease. And Mark Beauchesne with New Hampshire Fish and Game warns they've been receiving similar reports.
We're warming quicker than we have in the past, and that's their signal to come on out and play.
But Beauchesne says people shouldn't let it hold them back from going outside, and instead prepare. He says to get together some designated outdoor clothes and spray them with permethrin, which can repel and kill ticks.
And those are the clothes that I use when I go bird watching, fishing, or running the dogs, etc. I can change those before I come in the house.
And an extra tool to have handy after a walk in the woods, a lint roller.
We can just roll that on our clothes. It'll pick up those micro, tiny little ticks and lessen our chances of bringing those in the house.
If you bring Fido along for your walk, consider a tick treatment or collar for them, and go through their coats with a fine-tooth comb when you get home.
And ticks, of course, can hide on so many parts of our bodies, but they are commonly attracted to those warm spots. So behind your knees and under your arms are good places to always check. Now, we're told from those experts that if you find a tick on yourself and think that it might have been there for more than 24 hours, you should get it reviewed by a doctor. Reporting live in Manchester tonight, Tyler Dumont, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. State of emergency in New York with at least 76 coronavirus cases. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Now to New York, where the governor has declared a state of emergency with now at least 89 coronavirus cases, a 50% jump overnight. The governor with strong words from the CDC. And tonight we're learning one of those infected in New York is an Uber driver. This is some professional sports teams are assessing how they move forward when it comes to fan participation. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, a state of emergency declared in New York as the coronavirus spreads across the country. The number of confirmed cases soaring to at least 89 statewide. 11 in New York City, including an Uber driver, a man in his 30s, hospitalized in Queens. Plus, 23 new cases confirmed in a suburb outside New York City, about half of them linked to an attorney who frequently traveled through Grand Central Terminal. The governor blasting the federal government, claiming the state isn't getting enough money to fight the virus, and there aren't enough tests.
The CDC was caught flat-footed. I believe they're slow in their response, and I believe they're slowing down the state.
This as Florida reports the first 2 deaths on the East Coast, a man and a woman, both victims in their 70s with recent overseas travel. One of them from the district Congressman Matt Gaetz represents, who earlier this week wore a gas mask on the House floor. Tonight, Gaetz releasing a statement expressing sadness about the death, urging people to take the necessary precautions to minimize your exposure. People seen taking extra precaution. New video shows a Costco worker in Tampa wiping down shopping cart handles as customers enter the store. Nationwide, at least 29 states have COVID-19 infections, with new cases in California, Oregon, and the first case of community spread in Nebraska. The NBA tonight telling teams to plan for the possibility of playing games without fans. Superstar LeBron James responding.
If I show up to an arena and ain't no fans in there, I ain't playing.
And now the NHL closing all locker rooms to the media over fears of the virus.
All right, Stephanie Ramos joins us now from the hospital where that New York lawyer is being treated. And Stephanie, I want to go back to that Uber driver. The company has just released a statement about their driver who tested positive.
That's exactly right, Tom. Uber says they have a dedicated team working closely with public health officials. They also say they've removed the driver's access to the app and are also working with authorities. Tom.
Stephanie Ramos reporting from Manhattan's West Side.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at some upcoming events in New Hampshire and around New Hampshire today. Milford Antique Show, 8:30 a.m. at the Hampshire Hills Athletic Club. Volunteer Trail Work Day, 9 o'clock a.m. at Squam Lake Association. Boston Sea Rivers Show, 9:30 a.m. at the Doubletree by Hilton, Boston North Shore. Boxborough Antiques Show, 10 o'clock a.m. at Boxborough, Regency. Boston Sea Rivers Sunday Kids Day, 10 o'clock a.m. at the Doubletree by Hilton, Boston North Shore. Natural Fashion, 10 o'clock a.m. at Squam Lake Association. Sundays, Unplug All Day at Patrick's Pub and Eatery. International Women's Day Potluck, 11 o'clock a.m. at the Historical Society of Cheshire County. City Arts Nashua 10th Annual Physic Fair, 11 o'clock a.m. at Hunt Memorial Building. And Empty Bowls, 11:30 a.m. at Brookside Congressional Church. And that is a look at the upcoming events today in New Hampshire and around New Hampshire. And that does it for this Sunday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and goodbye.